Is on.
Okay, so good morning, and thanks for participating in this call. I just wanted to explain or show newer agents, or it doesn't actually have to be newer agents, anybody actually, this great new system. Well, Chip's going to explain it, of how to use send out cards. And I actually was introduced to send out cards by Chip and for my business, and it actually has helped my business a great deal. And well, without further ado, I will give it to Chip.
Thank you very much, Renee. Yeah, I started with send out cards about 3 years ago. I was 2 years into the business myself, so I'm still very much a newbie. When we started, no one ever explained to me that we had to have a pipeline. I guess I thought I'll get my license and I'll let people know that I'm in business and my phone will start ringing. Well, that doesn't quite work that way, although my very first listing, she came to me. That is exactly what happened, but that's a fluke. And I realized that, you beat the pavements, you door knock, you cold call, you try to find out what works. I started a newsletter and I had a few things. I started coaching, and coaches told me I should send letters to farm areas, which I did. And I got a little bit of business, but it was trickling in and keeping me alive. And then I found send out cards. And at first I was a little skeptical, to be perfectly honest. But I heard so many success stories of people that have doubled and tripled their business that I decided, what do you have to lose? So I started like I said, a little over 3 years ago in March, and within 19 days, I sent a card that led to a $2.5 million listing. And it was really just a happy spring card. I knew this older woman in my neighborhood, loved to garden. It was late March. It's still cold in Toronto in late March. So I decided, I'll bet she's anxious to get into the garden. I'm going to send her a happy spring card. So I'd been delivering my newsletter to her, met her on a fluke. And she called me and said, thank you so much. And I said, I'm really glad you like it. No, I loved it. I was like, oh, okay, well, that got my attention. And then in the next breath, she said, I had a realtor knock on my door and they want to buy my house for $1.9 million. And I said, well, that's not a bad price in this market. Keeping in mind, she bought the house in 1956 for about $16,000. So being offered $1.9 million really looked like, there's a lot of money. But I said, she's older, and I said, even if you only get $50,000 more by marketing your home, in my my mind, $50,000 is a lot of money. And she agreed, and I said, you don't want to sell your house to the first person that comes along. So we signed a listing, so I marketed her property. We ended up selling it not for $1.9 million, but for $2.25 million. So she got not $50,000 more, but $350,000 more. And ironically, it was the very same agent that offered the $1.9 million that brought the $2.25 offer. So it was really a win-win all around. And that card cost me about $2 to send her at the time, and paid me about $56,000. And I did some math at the time and thought that will buy my cards for the next 84 years. After that, I'm on my own. So what I'd like to do is share my screen with you and go through a little bit of terminology of how send out cards works. And then I'll build a card, show you how easy it is. You can also use your phone. There's an app on the phone that makes it really easy. Those of you that live your life on the phone, I'm on the computer a lot, so I tend to use the computer, but you can also send cards from your phone.
Yeah, it's really easy, the mobile app.
Yeah, either iPhone or Android, doesn't matter. Like I said, when I started, March 2016, my pipeline was empty. I had just sold a condo for $1 million plus, but I didn't have anything coming down the pipe. So I thought, okay, where's my next business? So with send out cards, there are three types of cards. There's a heartfelt card, a group send, and scheduled cards. Where you get those cards from are also three different areas. You can choose from a catalog, You can create what's called a photo drop card, which is really a template. Or you can just build your own from scratch. And most of the cards I do are build your own from scratch. A heartfelt card is from the heart. It's to a particular person. You've never sent that card before. You're sending it to one person, and you're going to send it immediately. I call them single send cards. So if I were going to send Renee a card today saying, Renee, it was so great to get on Zoom today with you. Thanks very much. That's not something I'm going to send to somebody else. That's just for Renee. That's a heartfelt card. A group send is just the opposite. It's a card that you're going to send over and over and over again to many people, or in one big group all at once. 10 people, 20 people, 200 people, doesn't really matter. They could be holiday cards. They could be just sold cards you want to send to 100 people in the neighborhood. Whatever. It could be a card that you have sent before and you want to send it again this week and again next week and then a week after. It doesn't have to be all at once. It could be one at a time, but there are multiple sends. And then scheduled cards are any card that's scheduled in the future. It could be tomorrow or it could be next year. So I'm going to show you a few cards that I've created that are heartfelt cards. This is actually the very first card they ever sent. I know this couple. I've known them since I was 20. He died, and I was talking to his wife and she said, next week it'll be a year that Bob died. But you can't go to the store and buy a card like that. So I remembered on my phone, I had a picture from his funeral. He was a Marine, and there was an honor guard. And I quickly snapped a picture, and I thought, oh, I've got that picture on my phone. So I put that on the front of the card. We'll always remember. Picture of the two of them. And then a message. He was 83. He had been ill for a number of years. It was kind of his time. So grief is the price we pay for love. Celebrate the good times and happy memories, thinking of you. So it's about them. It's not about me. That's heartfelt.
And it's something that she'll keep forever.
Absolutely. She has this on her dining room buffet. 3 years later, it's still there. And she told me, she said, I will never remove that card from where it is. It will be there forever. And she said, I know that's from Bob's funeral, but every time I look at it, it makes me smile, and it gives me a lot of comfort. And that's priceless as far as I'm concerned. So she called me in tears when she received it. Here's another heartfelt card. It was a realtor from Florida. He wanted information on send out cards, so I called him, and he said, look, dude, it's a really bad time. My girlfriend just had a baby. My in-laws are here. It's kind of crazy. And I was like, what? You just had a baby? Was it a boy or a girl? You could hear his pride through the phone where he said, I had a son. I was like, wow, what's his name? So I said, look, your family is more important. Spend time with them. When you're ready, I'll be here. So I went to his Facebook page, and he had this photograph of him. Looks like he's sleeping with the baby. Anybody has a new baby knows you lose a lot of sleep, and you catch it when you can. So I thought it was a very sweet picture. So I put that on the inside of the card, spanning both the left and the right panel, and just said, love has a new name today, because I didn't really know him, just from online. He called me. He was really enthusiastic. You could tell he was really touched emotionally. After that, he now calls me Uncle Chip. And when I went to Florida, he took me out for dinner. I met his baby, who's now a toddler. Met his girlfriend, and we had a great time, and we're like family now, so it built that relationship.
Right.
And he also uses send-out cards as well, loves it. Here's another real estate related card. I helped a couple buy the house in the middle, so I spanned the two panels, and then I listed their house on the front. So they were move-up buyers. Focus on the dream, not the journey. Thank you for allowing me to help you achieve your dream. It's an exciting time. I can't wait to see you settled and how you make it your own. Notice I branded the back of the card. So I always want my contact information to be there so that people that get the card can call me and chat or thank me or whatever they want to do. I know from experience that's important. I broke my finger a couple of years ago, and about a week later, because I had put it on Facebook and Instagram, that's what we do when we have calamities. And I got a card with brownies, said, ouch, sorry to hear about your fall, hope you heal quickly. And I couldn't figure out who it was from. There was a first name, and then the back was branded, but it was a business, a mortgage broker. And I was like, I never heard of these people. It took me a while to track it down, and I was like, you know what? She probably thinks her branding is great, but there was no phone number, no email, no way of contacting the person. So I learned that's something that's really important. Here's a couple of heartfelt cards. I have had a client who I'd only ever dealt with her through email or phone. I shared her with another agent. Finally got to meet her, and the very next, she's Greek, and they celebrate name day. Very next day, her husband texted and said, today is her name day, make sure you mention it. So I had to, even though I only met her the first time yesterday, I went and I said, isn't today October 26th? And yeah, I said, today's your name day. She looked at me like, how do you know that? So at home, and even though it was going to be late, I made this card for her name day saying, hope your name day was great. And she loved it. Where did you ever find a card like that? And I said, no, I made it. And so it's custom, just for you. And so 2 months later, she called me and asked if I would help her daughter find a house. So it led directly to close business. The one in the middle, great to meet you, is an example of the first impressions card. They're very professional. If I've met somebody on a professional level, I don't necessarily want to go to their Facebook page and steal pictures. Great to meet you. I used this when I met a builder at a pizza restaurant. He called me right away to thank me for the card and brownies. Very next day, I got an email asking me to list a property. And then the third card is that Happy Spring card that led to the $2.5 million listing very early in my first year. But all of these cards paid off handsomely. Well worth a couple dollars. If I include brownies, it's about $10 US, which includes postage. But as you can see, pretty good rates of return.
Well, Chip, you mentioned the brownies. So people can not only make these cards, then there's another aspect to it that they can send gifts.
That's right. Brownies, cookies, stuffed animals, scarves, novelty items. I'll show you when I create a card how easy it is to do that. Group sends. This is an example of a group send, a Happy Spring. I had met an elderly person on my farm, and she was kind of grouchy, and I decided she needs a little cheering up. So I made this Happy Spring card, decided to send it to 115 people instead. It became a group send. And the one person texted me and said, that is such a great card. Really need those colors because it's still cold. And that led to this couple of transactions. She invited me to dinner and told me her niece was looking for a realtor, referred me. And so that card paid me back handsomely about $41,000. I think it was about 1.6 or 1.7 million dollars worth of closed business.
And you're showing the expanded version of these cards, like so they could see the front, the middle, and the back.
That's right. So, okay. So the branding. Initially, Dorothy is the widow of a war veteran, so I support women warriors. So that's why I chose this back, just to let her know that I support the military. July 21st, or is actually the third Sunday in July, is National Ice Cream Day. A friend of mine's an artist in New York City, and she did this wonderful Mr. Softy oil painting, and I thought, I can use that for my cards. So she gave me permission to use all of her artwork. So I just said summertime is for more than enjoying an ice cream cone or two. It's a great time to get your house ready for the busy fall market. Let's talk while there's plenty of time. Free ice cream for every listing appointment. And if I got a listing appointment, I would show up with a 10 or 15, dollar gift certificate to Dairy Queen, enough to get a couple of large cones. So that's kind of a fun thing that I do every summer. I'm asking for business, but in kind of a fun way. Everybody likes ice cream. And I've gone to houses and people say, oh, you're the ice cream guy, so it's a way of breaking the ice, so to speak. And then holidays. This one is a New Year's card. I decided when I started my business not to send Christmas cards because not everybody celebrates Christmas, but everybody celebrates New Year's. Also, on December 19th or 20th, I might get a dozen cards in the mail. So I might flip through them and say, oh yeah, it's from Renee, and this is from Tom, and whoever. And then they get shoved aside because Christmas is a busy time. But January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I'm probably the only greeting card in their mailbox. There might be some bills. The Christmas tree is often down and forgotten. And then this is wishing them a happy New Year. So I want to stand out, and this is one of my ways of standing out. Then scheduled cards. This is an example of a birthday card that I can schedule ahead of time. Usually about once a month, 15th of the month, I'll go in and I'll see who has a birthday the following month. And I'll usually have, 40 or 50 people, and I'll just select the list. And I've saved this card as a campaign card, meaning that it's going to go out multiple times. And notice it says first name. So it would say, Renee, today we celebrate you. And so when you get it, you're not going to realize that 50 other people got this card that month. You're going to say, wow, isn't that nice? It's personal. And this is a card that I created. I change it up every year.
And don't they have, if you can have your own handwriting as well, right?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay.
And I'll show you. I haven't done that because I broke my finger and it's still kind of, it's kind of.
Oh, okay.
So I've just put it off. It's time I do that now, but I'd actually filled out the form, but I realized I used the wrong ink, blue instead of black. But I'll do it later, and about a week later, I fell and broke my finger, so I'll do it. But this, there are different fonts you can use. Like the one at the bottom is called Envelope Hand, so it's someone's handwriting, it's just not mine. And often I'll use that handwriting, and people think, and they've seen it so much, they think it's mine anyway.
Right.
Another scheduled card that's more real estate related, I knew I was going to be away when my client was celebrating third year in their house. I helped them purchase this house in 2014. So I took a picture of their house, spanned the inside of the card, took some pictures on the front, things that they added after they bought the house, and just said, happy third anniversary, I'm honored to have joined you on your journey. Such an important life event. You've breathed new life into 208 Lorne because it's a heritage house, about 100 years old, and they've done some amazing renovations. So that's another scheduled card. It would go out. I was on vacation. It was still delivered, close to the anniversary.
Nice.
Another scheduled card is for Veterans Day in the US, which is called Remembrance Day in Canada and UK. And in Australia, they have a different holiday in April. Australia and New Zealand, they celebrate Anzac Day, which is kind of comparable to Veterans Day. I think it's in April. So yeah, it's just a chance to say thank you for your service. I would send this to veterans or anybody with a military background or military in their family. Will always remember. And one of my clients said to me with tears in his eyes, I'm 91 years old. He was a World War II vet. And he said, I've never, ever gotten a card like that. And I said, well, then it's way overdue. Thank you for your service. And this was this year's Remembrance Day card. I found this picture that I could span both panels, which I like to do. And then you can't really read it. There's a poem called Liberty's Emblem, which was written by my grandfather during World War I, about 100 years ago. And so that's personal. It's about the flag, but I thought it kind of fits with veterans and military. But that's a way of sharing some of my life with my sphere and people getting the card.
That's a nice card.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll remember all of those who sacrificed days, months, years, and their lives in service to our country. Thank you for your service. So, and that's I send this out to a few dozen people that I know have a military background. And because it's military, of course, I support Wounded Warriors, so I have that back on there as well. And these are some of the other backs that I use. I change it up depending on the season and my mood. Sometimes the heart I'll put on the back of a wedding card or a sympathy card. I include my picture if I don't know who they are. And often people will say, who do you send cards to? And I have a list of about 30 different, reasons. Happy New Year, Happy Spring, birthday, house anniversary, sympathy cards, nice to meet you, thank you cards for listing presentations and new listings, congratulations on your purchase, cancer diagnosis even. I had a friend whose girlfriend was diagnosed with cancer. I sent her a card, really just a thinking of you card, wishing her well. She referred me to her hairdresser who wanted a purchase for about $2 million. So that's not why I sent the card, and she knew that. Right. She appreciated it. Graduation, get well, births of babies, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, volunteer work, trades who work in my house. I had some renovations done in my basement. Drywall, painters, plumbers, carpenters, tile setters, they all got a thank you card. And I took pictures while they were working, so I made those cards personal to them. The guy who did the drywall, taping and sanding, he called me practically in tears, thanking me for the card and brownies. And I realized people don't thank people like that. They complain if they don't like the service, but a heartfelt thank you will go a long way. Thank you for people having for dinner, wedding, congratulations, death of a pet, restaurants, neighbors, really anybody. Just use your imagination. So I'm going to switch over to send out cards, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to send a card. You can click on the button, send a card, and as I said, you'll get a choice between a catalog card, a photo drop card, or build your own. The catalog, I'll be honest with you, I don't use those a lot. You cannot change the front of the card, but you can change the inside. I tend to use these for get well cards, because sometimes it's the father of somebody I know or the mother of somebody I know, so I don't know them that well. And there's one that says a large dose of chocolate will cure just about anything. And I can send that with brownies, and it kind of, covers all the bases. However, so I can't change the front. The inside says, now suck it up and get better. Not a great message for a lot of people. Some people will appreciate it, some won't. I think of my friend's 90-year-old father who had fallen and broken his foot. Probably not smart. However, I'll show you an example of one that I sent to somebody. I have my friend, she's now 98, but at Christmas she was 97. And she was in the hospital and it did not look good. But then they realized she had been kind of misdiagnosed. So I sent her that card. Large dose of chocolate cure just about anything. On the inside, I made the background chocolate brown because of chocolate theme. Included a picture of her and when she was much younger, only 96. It said, "So glad you're feeling better," and with my personal message. I got rid of that "suck it up and get better" message. And I sent this with brownies, and that's a kind of a winter theme. It's a historic building in Toronto. That shows you what you can do with the catalog cards. You can spruce them up and make them special. Photo drop cards are the opposite. Where catalog cards you can't change the front, photo drop cards they want you to change the front. For example, I use this a lot for babies. There's one that says, sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. And you can change it to pink or blue or green or neutral. So you can customize the card, and it's going to ask you to put your own baby in there. You don't want you to use the baby that comes with the system. So somewhere here I have a picture of a baby, and you can include that. Or picture of mom. Doesn't mom look wonderful when she just delivered? It's like, how does she do it? I don't know. This one's special because I remember when the mother was born. And I remember watching TV with her mother when she was pregnant, talking about names. So it's the next generation. It kind of makes it feel old. Another one that I like to use in the photo drop cards is a picture frame card that's kind of neutral, this one here, where it's going to ask you to put your own picture. So I sent that to a friend who owns a picture frame business. He imports picture frames from Italy, and he sells them to framers. And I thought, well, what a perfect card for him. And his daughter, he had taken his daughter out for, what's his last name? For Halloween, her first Halloween. So I thought, well, that's too good to pass up. So I used this photo drop card, put their picture inside the frame, and just said, your daughter's adorable in her first Halloween costume, and put the date. So they're probably going to keep this forever. So that's a good example. Another example of that same card, a friend of mine, I go to an ice cream shop, and he posted it was his grandmother's 90th birthday. And so I took the picture, put it in the frame, sent the card. Life should be not only lived, but should be celebrated. And she certainly looks like she's living. She's having a good time at the ice cream shop. Yep. It just said, I thought this photo deserved to be printed. Hope you're known. I had a great day. When I went for an ice cream about a month later, 3 weeks later, he was all smiles, and I thought, oh, he remembers me from last summer. And when I got up to the front, he grabbed the card off of the top of his ice cream machine. He said, "This card is wonderful. It will always stay here." He said, "That was
And
really,
that's what you want.
that's what we want. That's right." And not only that, people come into the shop, they will pick it up, and they will see my branding in the back, saying, "Well, my realtor doesn't send me anything." So that they're photo drop cards, and then of course the build your own. With build your own, it's just that you can build vertical or horizontal. I tend to use vertical because I like the way they stand on bookshelves or stand up on their own. And people will keep these cards for months or years. So that's what you want. You can customize it. They have a flat card, which is really just one piece of paper. 2-panel card, which most greeting cards are. 3-panel, which is if you have lots of photographs, it's a great choice. Or a really big card. Big cards are about 8 by 10, size of a regular piece of paper. So it would be a card like the size of my face. So again, kids or older people where you have lots of photographs, that's a good choice. Or a postcard. I tend not to do postcards. I like it to come in an envelope. Standard paper, which is similar to semi-gloss. Satin or pearl, which is like matte finish. Slightly better graded paper, but I stick with the standard. I'm quite happy with the results. And then it just is, okay, you're going to add a photograph. Do you want it to be a full page picture, or do you want it to be a picture with some text underneath? Or do you want 4 pictures? What layout do you want? So you have lots of choices. I tend just to put a picture on the front, and then I can go through and pick up, find something interesting that I can use. So sunflowers. This was from last summer. I passed a field of sunflowers growing, and I thought, well, I turned the car around and went back, took a whole bunch of pictures. I thought, these will be great for cards.
Yeah.
So it's just cheery. How can you not smile if you get that card with these beautiful sunflowers on the front? And then on the inside, if I wanted to use the sunflower theme, I can click on the little white edge and go to the background, and I can make the inside yellow as well. It just makes it a little bit more professional. You don't have to do that. I also use my own personal colors. Down here in this section, there's a number sign with a 6-digit characters recipe. That's called a hex code. So every color in the world has the recipe starting with the number sign. So one I like to use, B5D3H7, is kind of a light blue that I particularly like. But we'll stick with this one that I had from before. Let's see, make sure they match. So that's, and then go here. No, they don't quite match, so we're going to make sure that they do. And then I can again add photographs if I want to add photographs, or not. I can add text, or I can leave it blank. And then on this side, I always include the date because when I first started, somebody suggested that. And I said, well, why would I do that? And they said, because people are not going to throw your cards away. They're going to keep them. You'll go to their house 2 or 3 years from now, and you'll find your card on their bullet board or their fridge or their bookcase or something like that. So, and then just type a message. People often say, what do you say? What do you say? I just pretend I'm talking to the person. What would I say if they were in front of me? You know, Renee, it was so good to get onto the Zoom call today and show your friends how easy it is to grow your real estate business. Fix my spelling here. Real estate business through relationship marketing, and send out cards. All the best. I like to keep it short and sweet because you know, you don't have to write a book.
Right, keep it simple.
Keep it simple, that's right. I could also change the font. There's one font that I particularly like. It's kind of fun called Font Diner. That's a little bit fun to use, and sometimes I'll change that one to Envelope Hand, which is, and I'll make it a little bit bigger because we don't always sign, exactly the same size as the font that's on the card. Something like that. If I want something a little bit more professional, I could go in and find a different font that's a little bit more professional. One that I like is called Cranky. It's kind of a funny name. So that's not bad. And also Papyrus is another one that I sometimes use. Or Original Surfer, that kind of stands out. Or Papyrus, where you get the idea. I'm going to stick with the Font Diner because it's kind of fun. And then on the back, you want to have your branding. So this is Toronto Skyline with my contact information. I can change that if I want, but for now, I'll just leave that alone. When I'm ready to send, notice it says $1.75, but when you actually get ready to send from your cart, it will figure out what plan you're on and will charge you accordingly. So we're creating an order. I can send it immediately. I can send it in time for their birthday, anniversary, or a specific date. So if Renee told me I'm going on vacation, I'm not going to be back till August 15th, I could set it to go in August. There would be a scheduled card. I'm going to show you, now I'm not going to add a gift yet because I want to show you when I add a recipient. And I think Renee is already in my system. Yes. And so this card is totally free. Free for the card, free shipping because I'm on the $97 or the $147 a month plan. Unlimited heartfelt cards, including postage. So the break-even point is about 30 cards, which is about 1 card a day. And I always tell people, if you can't think of 1 person a day to celebrate or appreciate or thank or say hello to in your business, you might have other issues in your business. It's not really a send-off card issue. I'm going to cancel this for now because what I'm going to do is add a gift. The gift store, there are all kinds of gifts that are popular. The brownies are really, really, really popular. So I can go in and send a 2-pack of brownies in standard packaging for $3.98. If I want it to be packaged in a little bit more nicer paper, I want it in a box. If I want to impress somebody, it's only a couple of dollars more. I think it's $2.09, something like that. Not bad. But the regular packaging is appreciated. And then you'll see when I get ready to send this, the card is still free, but I have to pay for the brownies, which is $3.98, and postage is about just under $6. So for $9.91, I'm sending a gift. And so that's an easy thing to do. The other thing I can send, let me just see here, children. So there's these stuffed animals. When people have a baby, the giraffe jingles, a pink one or a blue one. Here's a Noah's Ark lion that's plush. It has kind of a really nice saying on it. It says something like, how brave and strong you are to come into this world. There's so much to explore and learn. You have so much love surrounding you as you create your story. Have courage, little one, roar. So that's kind of a fun thing for somebody who's just had a baby. The picture of that little girl that I knew that just had her own baby, I'm probably going to send her that because when she had her other baby, I sent her the blue giraffe. So I don't want to send the same thing again.
I also sent that giraffe to a friend of mine who had a child. It was really cute.
Yeah, and there's cookies. There's cookies. All kinds of gifts that you can choose from. I always say there's hundreds. There's at least dozens of things that you can choose from. So card-sized gifts, charms, tokens. There's gift sets. That depending on your budget. This one's $97, $32, but like a bucket of cookies. I have a friend who has just had his 6th child, So when it's his birthday, I send the brownies, but I send the 8-pack because I want to make sure all the kids get a brownie.
And they are so delicious too. I mean,
They really are.
they really are.
And then, of course, he posted on social media, I just got a mountain of brownies from Chip. Isn't that great? So that's where the gifts come from. And if you don't want to send a gift, you just want to send the card by itself, that's fine too. Just a little X, take the gift off, and ready to send. And off it will go in tomorrow's mail. So that's how easy it is to do that. Now, I also want to talk how pricing works. There are 4 levels of subscription. The basic level is the most expensive. It's free. You're going to pay $2.75 a card plus $1 for if you want to include a photograph. So it's $3.75 plus postage. But you also do not have access to a CRM. You can't send group cards. You can't send campaigns. So you're really limited. For $17 a month, the card price drops from $3.75 to $2.25. So you're saving $1.50 per card. But you also get 15% off gifts, like the brownies or the cookies. You have the CRM, which is unlimited. I can show you what that looks like. And also you can do campaigns, you can do group sends, you can do everything. So you're not limited. But the best bang for your buck, the best value is the premium subscription. For $97 a month, you can send unlimited heartfelt cards, so single send cards, including stamps. Now, I'm in Canada, stamps are 87 cents. So if I send 100 cards, out of that $97, $87 is postage. So what a deal this is. I mean, even in Canada and US, it's $55 for postage. You have 40 some dollars for 100 cards. But on top of that, you get loyalty rewards, which are 10 free group sends every month. That's worth $17.50. So if you drop this to $79.50 and you subtract $55 for postage, you're down to about $24.50 to send 100 cards. It's a real good deal. And then if you want to do farming, I'm on the $147 plan. You get everything you do on the 97, but you also get 100 free group sends every month. So that means every month I'm going to send 100 people a card, the ice cream card, the New Year's card, the Happy Spring, Happy Thanksgiving, Father's Day, Easter, Christmas, whatever it happens to be. And I can rotate those groups, so I'm not sending the same people every single month. If you have 300 in your farm, 100 in January, 100 in February, 100 in March, and then April, you can circle back to that first 100. So you can do it on a quarterly basis. They also have 2 elite packages where you can prepay scheduled cards. You can bring the price of the scheduled cards down from $1.75 to 99 cents. At first I thought it was a little expensive, it's $1,000, but you also get the Essentials Pack, which is the, I call them designer cards, the professional cards that you can use that are already done for you. You can add a photograph on the inside and you're off to the races. You get your handwriting font, as Renee mentioned. You also get your signature as well. That's normally $100. So if you're paying $1,000 for the scheduled cards, now it's $900, not $1,000. But you also get unlimited access to a campaign store. And the campaign store, they're kind of like drip campaigns where there's multiple cards in a series. Could be 3 cards, could be 5 cards. They design them for you. So you're buying the design. And those designs cost either $85 for 3 or $135 for 5. So it's about $27 a card. Notice there are all kinds of industries that are available, including real estate. So I scroll down to real estate. Because I'm on Zoom, it doesn't always load the cards properly, but it might be congratulations on selling your house, and then a couple of months later there might be one asking for referrals. There might be a birthday, could be a holiday card, and then an anniversary card, something like that. So you can purchase their designs, or you can create your own drip campaigns as well. So that brings the price of that elite package down dramatically if you're going to use the campaign store.
And who would want to use the Elite?
Anybody that was going to send a lot of scheduled cards. At first I thought it was kind of expensive, but then I looked and said, you know, last year I sent 1,100 scheduled cards, and they cost me $1.75 each. Why wouldn't I spend 99 cents? I mean, saving 70 some cents every time I send a card. I did some math not too long ago, and I realized I have about 260 people that are on my group. When I do a group send, it goes out to 260 people. Well, I do that about 5 times a year. So if I do 262 times 5, that's 1,310. So if I spend $1.75, that comes out to about $2,300. If I reduce the price of that to 99 cents, then I'm saving over $1,000. So that minus that. So it's $9.95. So that actually pays for itself if you send enough scheduled cards. So why wouldn't you, right? It's like it's half price. You know, it's a pretty good deal.
Well, there's options. There's a lot of options.
That's right. And you don't have to do that right off the bat. A lot of people start with the premium. Then they realize, oh, I'm sending, you know, I had somebody just last week started with a premium. He's a new realtor. And he said, you know, I've sent some group sends and I've spent like $50 on group sends in addition to the 97. And I said, yeah, for $50, you can send 28 cards. Or add that $50 and get the enterprise package, and now you can send 100 group sends, right? So it's cheaper. So it just, after you start practicing and sending cards, you'll realize what your card sending habits are, and you can adjust accordingly. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions or anything you want to add, Renee?
I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that I had when I first started. At this time, I really can't think of anything. You pretty much explained. I just think the ease of it, that's what I like about it. And it also makes, you know, your business fun, and you're always thinking of somebody. Every time you meet somebody, you're thinking, you know, what can I do to send this like a person a card, you know, even when you go for a coffee, or so you're always at the top of somebody's mind. And that's why I like it, because, you know, I don't think a lot of people these days are sending cards. So it actually makes you stand out.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I'm just looking for that original card that I sent. It doesn't have to be anything special. This is the card that I mentioned that I ended up selling over $5 million for the real estate. They start out with a thank you card. They live on this side of the water. We live on this side of the water. We're not really neighbors. We see them. They're about an inch tall, and they wave, and you wonder if they saw you. She called, did me a favor. I sent her this card and just said, thank you for being a good neighbor. We appreciate your neighborhood watch. This card started the relationship. They got other cards from me. They had me over to look at their house. I gave them a valuation of their house at the time. This was fall 2016. Thank you very much for showing me your house. It shows to perfection. I'm sure when you're ready, it'll sell quickly. Nothing would give me more pleasure than to break another record in your neighborhood. They didn't sell then. That was 2016. However, I continued sending cards. They had us over for drinks one afternoon. So I sent another thank you card, and this is their cottage on the other side of the water. So thank you for an afternoon wine and conversation. Christmas, New Year's, spring, another summer, Thanksgiving, another Christmas, and lo and behold, 2019, they bought a condo for over $2 million. So again, I sent them a card. Congratulations. I'm thrilled you found such a gem of a condo. This is a 3-panel card, so you get extra pictures. And this is their new neighborhood, the new place that they're going to move into.
So it started with a thank you card, and then you built a relationship with them, and then 2 or 3 years later, you sold them a condo.
$3.1 million, and then I sold their house for $3.1 million. So this is their house when we went, the listing went live. It was early April, so the grass wasn't very green yet. Some pictures from my listing. and just said, it looks great. Thank you for allowing me to join you as you embark on your next chapter. And that was at least from the listing photos. And they'll keep this because it'll be a keepsake from the old house. Happy Easter. This is when we sold, or maybe this was thanking with the listing. No, that was, it looks great, great one. And then birthdays. So, you know, they've gotten a bunch of cards from me. It built a relationship. And, you know, I ended up with over $5 million worth of closed business.
Wow.
So,
see, it's very powerful.
even the those first impressions cards, I met a builder at a pizza place. This guy's like 6'5", Italian macho builder. We sat and had a chat. He was introduced me to by the owner of the pizza place. So he gave me his card and said, please keep in touch. So I sent him this great to meet you card. That's what I call them, designer cards. I went to his Facebook page, took his picture, put in the card, and then just said, just note to say how nice it was to meet you. Thoroughly enjoyed our conversation at George's restaurant. I'm anxious to see your work in his renovation. I know, be patient. They hadn't even broken ground yet. Good luck on your weight loss. He told me he lost 100 pounds. He was having a salad. I was the one having the pizza. You're doing great. I apologize for the cheap treats, the brownies. So they're small. All the best, Chip. He called me like a kid on Christmas. Thank you so much. That was so nice of you. I showed my brother. We're in business together. I think we could do business. I'd like you to meet my brother. And what I didn't know was the night, timing is often everything. What I didn't know was the night before he received my card and brownies, he went into the pizza restaurant and saw his friend and said, what can you tell me of this guy, Chip? And he said, oh, Chip's a great guy, yada, yada, yada. And he said, well, I'm thinking about giving him a listing. And he said, oh, no, I'm sure he'll do a good job. And so the very next day, my card and brownies arrived like magic. And he was like, wow. So it sealed the deal. He was like, you know what? I'm going to call this guy. And he was so appreciative. We've now become friends. He's looking for additional properties to buy for his business. And he makes it clear that, you know, anything he buys, he'll be using me. In fact, I was at the same pizza place. Somebody who was renting said, you know, the owner of my house is thinking about selling in the fall. It might be a great place for you to buy. Now, he could go directly to the owner and not use a realtor. But he said, well, let Chip and me know when the time comes. Chip can help me buy the house. So, you know, that's another. And again, he's gotten additional cards from me as we become friends. I met his girlfriend, and this was the day they announced they were going to have a baby. And so I took their picture and sent them a congratulations card. So by now we're friends. And then 6 months or so later, the baby was born. And so I said, welcome to the world, and sent the blue giraffe too. So, and then at the end, I put my branding on the back. They know who I am by now. I just put their picture on the back. So it's about celebrating them.
Right. It's always about celebrating them. So yeah, so you would say that this this really has helped your business and just in your personal life as well.
Absolutely. It makes it a lot easier to send cards. I have gotten 35 referrals year to date. So we're about 6 months into the new year. 35 referrals worth about $38 million worth of properties. I'm having my best year ever for closed business. It's something I just couldn't live without in my business.
Wow. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's how I feel. I think it's, the more I'm using it. I mean, my circumstance was a little different. I relocated. So I'm, you know, now starting over in my business in California. So I think this is going to be a huge help for me to meet people. When I meet people, I can send them a card and start building those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people want to get in touch with me, they can get in touch with you. If they have other questions, I'm easy to find, Chip Barkel, B-A-R-K-E-L. Just Google my name. If anyone's interested, get them signed up under Renee. Renee, or I look at it as a team approach. So just because you're signed up under Renee doesn't mean I can't help you. I also have a private Facebook group called It's Never Just a Card. It's a community of people that are under me using send out cards, and they can share ideas and cards as well. So that's, value added. Also, it's your first line of support. So you can check with Renee or check with me if you're having a question or a problem, or you can call Send Out Cards support line. So you have lots of support and training available to you.
And I'm always available to help people train, get them started, and just like, or we could both do it. It's about helping you get established with Send Out Cards. So I'm always here to answer your questions and help as you are.
Well, thank you, Renee. If you don't have any other questions, we can always follow up if people have questions after the fact. But it was great to get together and try to explain how Send Out Cards works. I always tell people it's not only how it works, but how you work it. It's like any system. If it's implemented badly, you're not going to get good results. So how you implement is also important as well.
And as you always say, it's called Send Out Cards for a reason.
For a reason. If you don't send them out, you're not going to get the results.
That's right.
So that's kind of the way it works. So anyway, thank you very much. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.